But I played a game in 220. It was a vampire RPG thing. It's called Vampyr, and it's spelled with a Y, Vampire Y R. But the cool thing about it, the interesting thing, I didn't realize it when I first played it, but I mean, when I got it, I didn't know it was gonna be set. It was set in the Spanish flu era
Okay.
in London. So it's set in London, and you play as like a doctor vampire. The plot is he gets turned into one by something like that's the mystery. Like at first he doesn't know who turned him, so at first he doesn't know what the fuck's going on, and he randomly attacks a person because he's thirsty or whatever for blood, and it ends up being his sister. And then she dies, and he's all like fucked up about it. And then after that, he's like, I gotta find who turned me or whatever. And then this medical guy who owns a hospital finds him in London. He's like somewhere in like the streets of London. He finds him, and he happens to know about vampires or whatever. And so he kind of like, look, just come with me, and you could work at the hospital night shift, of course, right? A graveyard, and help us, and then I'll help you find out what happened. And that's kind of like the hitch of the story. You know what I mean? But
Oh,
it's cool. It's interesting. It's a for RPG. I think it's interesting because it has like consequences. Like you technically, I guess you could kill any NPC, but it has consequences for every area of the city you're at.
mm.
So if you're in the Whitechapel part of London and you kill one of the pillars of the community, it affects everything in that town. So you'll start seeing like the town start to degrade. There'll be like more like vampire monsters and werewolves and shit, and you have to kill them. And it becomes like a more hostile area. And then obviously certain missions will be cut off, and you won't be able to do them because you killed, the NPC or whatever. It's one of the, I thought it's not a triple A game. It's like a double A game, I guess you could say, kind of an indie,
Really?
but it kind of slipped under the radar. But for RPG, I thought it was pretty good, man. Like in terms of like the things you could do, a little bit repetitive in the gameplay though. But you have like ultimate powers. You know what I'm saying? Like you have like the ultimate once you start, upgrading or whatever.
You never did talk about this video game.
Yeah, I should have mentioned to you. I thought I did, but
Well, you
yeah,
now have.
it's cool that it's set in in Spanish flu London because part of the story actually intertwines with that. So there's a new strain, and he ends up finding it, and that's what's turning other people into like these more feral kind of vampires. You know what I mean? And they're called scavs in the game. They're kind of like they're almost like zombies, but they're like feral. They suck blood or whatever, and you could attack them and whatever and kill them and gain XP and all that kind of shit. You also gain XP, by doing little side missions or whatever. But it's a very atmospheric game too. You know what I mean? It's set in London, so there's always fog and shit going on, stuff like that. But
Very
it's pretty.
dark.
It's really cool story though. Like towards the end, I think you would like how the conclusion, like one of the reveals at the end, it kind of leads to a historical English figure, I guess you could say.
Oh,
So it's one of the kings from England from that time, and I thought that
King
was really
Arthur.
cool. Yeah, it was something like that. It's not King Arthur, but it is something to that. It's close. I'll tell you, close. And I thought that was cool about it. People definitely check that out. Like I'm telling you, especially for fans of the old school game, you might be familiar with it just because it's that old school. I haven't played it though, even though people tell me I should. Bloodlines, Vampire Masquerades, or some shit. It was a PC game.
Bloodlines.
It's kind of like it was a very RPG heavy, like vampire type RPG. I don't know if you played it, but I have a friend.
Nope.
He's a geek for that kind of thing. He told me, but he's like, man, you should play it, man. It's like they got it on Steam, $20. I was like, all right, I'll play it one day. I mean, I had heard about it at that point, anyways, but I was kind of looking for a sequel. But I mean, they're making one, but it gets stuck in development hell or whatever. And it's been stuck in development hell because I keep seeing trailers like every year. There's a trailer for it, but there's no game. I was like, what the fuck? You know what I mean? But so I kind of given up hope on that.
It finally came out.
Yeah. But yeah, you should. Maybe I'll let you borrow it one day since you got a PS4.
Uh, why
But
not?
I did not choose the thing I've become, but I can choose the lives I now take. Cursed be the choice.